What is up, everybody? My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to make $100,000 your first year pressure washing. I'm joined with a special guest. He actually did over $100,000 his first year pressure washing. Dallas, how's it going, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing good, bro. Glad you could join us today. We're going to be going through a bunch of different things about Dallas's first year, the things that he learned, biggest mistakes, things of that nature in today's video. So that way you guys can take that information and hopefully utilize it within your own business. Before we get started, though, if you guys are looking to start a pressure washing business and you're not sure what chemicals to use, how to mix them, how to clean every surface on a residential job site or property protection, be sure to check out the How to Wash course. That'll be linked below. Also, if you guys need help keeping up with customers, sending estimates, invoices, or collecting payments, all for free, you guys can check out Quote IQ on the App Store, Play Store, or you can try any tier of Quote IQ right now, actually for $1 at myquoteiq.com. With all that being said, though, Dallas, can you kind of intro yourself, man? Tell me how long you've been in the business for, how much you made year one, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So, obviously, my name is Dallas Roach. I'm based out of St. Louis, Missouri. We started our pressure washing company last year. We got our LLC in January 17th, and we took our first job in March 28th. And we were able to secure 100K in washing our first year. And then we also added Christmas lights at the end of the season. We're able to add 40K onto that. So we ended year one with 140K. And yeah, we're super excited. And, we got into all the How to Wash course. So if you guys aren't a part of that community, definitely download that and get a part of that immediately.
Absolutely. So we'll have links below. Obviously, Dallas was in the inner circle. This was him and his partner right here, six-figure earners year one. So Dallas, you obviously have a partner. I do want to kind of dig into how is it running the business with a partner? Like, obviously, you guys are still together, so you would say it's been good so far, huh?
Yeah, I mean, when you're running a business with anyone, there's going to be ups and downs. We definitely are both, headstrong in what we want to do. And we just utilize what we're both best at. So I'm best at the sales and Pat's best at operations. So, we're going to put all of our eggs into those avenues.
Beautiful. One of the things that like we've always talked about, Aaron kind of coined this. He kind of taught me this, but like anytime like a group of people come together, everybody that's in the group needs to bring a special skill, or else it's really not going to work. So if you're too much like somebody else, then it really kind of like you start clashing heads and stuff. But the fact that like Dallas, you have a sales background, and I kind of want to get into that, and he's more of the operations side of the business. Would you say that's one of the reasons why you guys have worked so well together?
Yeah, 100%. Especially in the beginning, I it's kind of funny if, looking back at January 17th of last year, if you were to line up like outdoor equipment, like 10 pieces of outdoor equipment, I would have never been able to pick out a power washer from the lineup. I was that much into sales, and, I just never, paid for, outdoor equipment stuff. So I didn't even know about any of it. So, bringing Pat in that, his skill is the operations and knows how stuff needs to run and how to check the machines and how to make sure everything's running tip top shape. It's invaluable to have that for sure.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. Okay, so if you can tell us what you were doing before you started. You talked about sales, but if you can give us a little bit more specifics on what that looked like and how you
Yep.
were able to kind of take what you were doing and utilize it.
Yeah, for sure. So my first job when I was 15 was door to door canvassing. So I definitely was able to utilize that a lot into our business now. As you can see over my shoulder over here is all of our maps for our area. And we do it strategically. So we hit neighborhoods accordingly. And when we hit a whole neighborhood, we'll go on the map and knock it off, or mark it off. And then after I got out of door to door canvassing, I actually switched to extended car warranty sales over the phone. So I worked, about 7, 8 years into warranty sales. So I definitely was, able to hone in on my skills there. I was 100% commission. So if I didn't sell, I didn't eat, which was very important, at the end of the day to make sure I was getting my sales on time.
Dude, I love that, bro. I mean, obviously not eating, but it's
Right.
just like it's like you eat what you kill kind of mentality. And that's how it is in like the pressure washing business. And I think that probably set you up in a good place to know what it was going to be like afterwards. Because a lot of people they work 9 to 5 and they're like, I really want to quit this job. I want to go do it full time, but they don't understand whenever all that weight's on your shoulders, what that can be like. And if you were able to bring that, mentality in from your previous job, I'm sure that's only helped you out, right?
Yeah, 100%. And, having the sales background, when we first started, I started hitting the neighborhood. Our very first, like, I think it was the day we got our lead sheets made. I was like, all right, I'm going to go hit my neighborhood right now. And we were able to secure 3 leads out of knocking one neighborhood. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I can get leads like this, I can sustain business easily. So we just started hitting the streets. We got flyers printed, lead sheets, and yeah, we just attacked it full force. And we tried doing part-time in the beginning. But we were booking jobs so fast that we're like, okay, we either got to go full time or, not do it. So we decided to both quit our 9 to 5 jobs and went full time. And it was definitely scary because, like I said, I didn't even know what a pressure washer looked like. So I've came a long way in that industry for sure.
Dude, so kind of like a burn the boats mentality, right? Like we're both like, we're done with our jobs. We're just going to go all in. So tell me a little bit about why you guys picked pressure washing, and then a little bit also as to why you guys teamed up, because a lot of people will just try to do it themselves,
Yeah. So again, just going to where, knowing our strengths, me and Pat have been best friends for over 10 years. And he was like working on new construction houses, putting roofs on. And he actually would see power washing companies coming in and doing post construction cleanup. And he was just on top of the roof wishing that he could be in that position because it looked a lot easier for him. So we actually lived in Florida together, and he came up with the idea down there, and I was still kind of in my sales stuff. So we never actually took action down in Florida. But once we moved back home in St. Louis, we both went different ways and went back to our 9 to 5s. And then eventually it was about 2 years of us being back in St. Louis. We were fed up with it. And, at the end of the day, I was done selling. If I'm selling 100% commission, I want to make sure I'm selling that for myself at the end of the day.
Right, absolutely. And I think that's one of the points you have to get to, right? You got to get so tired of your current situation that you're like, I need to make a change. And that's kind of like, until you get to that place, you're gonna kind of do what you guys did in the beginning, right? You talked about it, it was a cool idea, but until you get to the place of like, I'm so done with what I'm currently doing, you won't really take action. Would you say that's true, Dallas?
Yeah, 100%. And that's, it was really hard for me because, again, out of like, for the last like 5 years, I was making about 150K a year. So like going from that to like no paychecks and having to, get everything on schedule and figure out the industry, it was definitely scary. But, fear isn't, false expectations appearing real. And you just can't let fear hold you back in your life.
Dude, you were doing 150K selling extended warranties for cars?
Yeah, 100%.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So you were the dude calling people going, "Hey, can I talk to you about your car's extended warranty?"
Yep. Well, we actually sent out mailers like EDDM, which I was able to take that and put it into our business as well. But we would
Love
send out
that.
mailers and they would call us. So I'd just answer the phones and sell right on the spot.
Okay, well, that's a lot better than cold calling,
Yeah.
people yelling at you, right? Like,
Yep.
okay, perfect. Dude, I love how, like, for anybody watching this, like, you need, there's, like, a couple pieces to the recipe that you need in order to have, like, a tremendous amount of success out of the gate. You need, like, a burning desire. You need to have the ability to burn the ships and say, we're done with what we're currently doing. And you also need the ability to, like, lean on past and prior experience. Like, dude, the fact that you're able to take your sales experience into what you are currently doing, as well as just some of this marketing, experience, that only helped you guys crush it even more year one, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I definitely, I wouldn't know how to do like the map rooms. Like what we did is we actually went to Barnes and Noble, got a local map of our state, and you can actually flip to your area and then take that to Office Max, have them print it out big size and laminate it for you. So then you can use, like the expo markers or whatever and mark your area. And we do like it says right there, March and April is marked red. So we know all of the neighborhoods marked in red are between March and April. So then we can go back and hit those neighborhoods again strategically.
So are you guys doing are you going door to door basically
Yeah.
right now?
Yep. So we definitely hit door to door in every job that we do. We definitely hit a lot of houses in the neighborhood, if not the full neighborhood. And then, like I was just telling you, is we just brought on our first employee, so I have now got off the truck and I am now in 100% sales. So I will be focused on knocking. Like after I'm running the leads, I'll knock the whole neighborhood.
Dude, incredible. I know that's a great way to go. Like that's a great way to get business. I really want to dive into, some of the ways you guys are getting business as well. Before we do that though, I kind of want to talk about what services you guys are currently offering. Obviously having a plethora of services helps you out. With pressure washing, we got roof cleaning, house wash, driveway cleaning. But did you guys add any other services onto that service list to kind of increase the ticket?
Yeah, all the ones you just named. We started out with just power washing. We've added all of the ones you just named and window cleaning, gutter cleaning. Window cleaning was definitely one that we started seeing once we invested in the right equipment to get that handled correctly. We definitely started seeing our average tickets jump up, crazy numbers.
Right. And that's another thing is like when you as a service business can become a one-stop shop for a lot of like these customers' needs, that's how you can raise that average ticket price and that's how you can take full advantage of every customer that comes on, right? Because like a lot of guys would be like a lot of guys that I see get into this mindset of they can only pressure wash and like they're not having success getting jobs, they're not like, making as much money as they should on every single property because they're stuck in the mindset of all I can do is pressure wash, right? But like when you had the gutter cleaning, when you have the window cleaning and like all these little add-on services that could be sold as standalone, it helps out the business because it generates more income.
Yeah, 100%. And, in the beginning, like I said, we were just doing that. But, we actually got with a CPA our first month and hired him in, which was 250 month with $250 a month, which was a big charge for us in the beginning. But we got elected as an S corporation so that me and Patrick could pay ourselves every Friday, which is kind of, unheard of when you start a company in the first year. We were able to pay ourselves every Friday, which was definitely pretty awesome. But it also made us have to hunt those leads out. We were realizing that we weren't only just getting power washing leads. I could find on Nextdoor or all these other apps that people were asking for gutter cleaning or window cleaning. So then once I was able to secure that job, upselling the power washing or vice versa was super easy for us.
Exactly. So I would say big takeaway for anybody who's watching this, don't get stuck in like all I can do is pressure washing because there's just so many other services that you could get your foot in the door with customers that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise. One of the things I want to kind of talk about, Dallas, like one of these intangible things is like, can you tell me a little bit about investing in yourself and how it felt to invest in yourself early on in your business when you didn't have the success to back it up? Like just what you told me, hiring the CPA on when it was $250 a month, when you guys maybe weren't making as much money in the beginning. Like tell me about some of those moves that you guys made to invest in yourself early on and how those paid off on the long term, even though in the beginning it might not have looked like they were going to.
Yeah, for sure. Hiring the CPA and a bookkeeper when we really didn't have books was, like, why are we spending 250 on that? But me and Pat, we had the 100% belief that we were going to make this work no matter what we had to do. And, again, my girlfriend's pregnant right now and Pat has a 2-year-old. So like our families are on the line and we quit our full-time jobs. I left a pretty good paying, career to come to this. So it was never a doubt in my mind if, spending the money on investing in ourselves was important or not. We knew we had to do it. And, one of the, also another thing that we added, not just the CPA, was getting into the how to wash course and the inner circle and being around like-minded business, entrepreneurs. And it was, that it right there is invaluable for sure.
Right, absolutely. Well, we didn't pay Dallas to say that, but he's
No.
just you're just crushing it. But dude, you gave him another piece of the puzzle. Like when I asked you that question, you said, you guys didn't mind making, the payments on stuff because it was gonna happen. There was no, chance that it could fail. So when you have the mentality, you like just set yourself up for success. So I just love it, bro. You're dropping some really good gems in this one. Can you tell me a little bit about the equipment that you guys started with early on and how that kind of evolved until now?
Yeah, for sure. So, me and Pat, like I said, again, I didn't even know what a power washer was. So, of course, we went to our local Home Depot. Patrick bought the first power washer for $1,000. It was like, it's a DeWalt 4400 4 gallon per minute power washer. And he bought that, came to my house, dropped it off. And I was like, oh, well, if we're 50-50 partners, I need to go buy one. So I went and bought the exact same one. So we had 2 power washers thinking like, oh, we'll hook it up to the same house and, be able to knock it out really fast. But, we soon realized that, with water pressure and stuff like that, we weren't able to run, 2 machines off the house. And yeah, we evolved the equipment. It's kind of crazy to say this. Power washing equipment is our next buy. We're still running off that equipment that we bought, year one. Our first big piece of equipment that we bought was actually the window cleaning stuff, because I started the local service ads. And the next thing you know, we're ranking #1 in our area for window cleaning. And we had never even cleaned a window.
Right.
So we
That's one
invest.
of the downsides to the local service ads is, like, they don't have pressure washing, which I don't know why they won't just, like, add that on. But, I mean, I guess it does kinda yeah, because I know the conundrum that you're in. But, yeah, keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, so we the first equipment that we bought was the Zero, like, water-fed pulse system, the three-stage system with a Zero destroyer, and that was just recently. I mean, we ran our whole business last year off of just, we used all of, like, the Southeast guns, the tips, the ball valve, all of, like, that equipment, but, we were still just running off $1,000 machine from Home Depot to this till right now. Like, today we did, 2 jobs with it.
Dude, that's incredible, and that's specifically why I asked because, like, a lot of times guys will let the whole equipment conundrum, like, "Well, what should I get? How much should I pay?" All this kinda stuff. You guys did 140K, you guys are still doing work with $1,000 in equipment, and so, the thing is, like and I wanna know your plan to reinvest in your equipment because once you guys get some legitimate equipment, I can't imagine how much more money you're gonna be making because the jobs are gonna go so much faster. Like, you're connecting to the customer's water with this machine, right? You don't have, like, a
Yeah,
tank or anything?
and
Dude, you guys are in the stone age, bro, with
I know, dude, and we know that 100%, and, building up our power washing equipment is our next step, but we didn't just sit there and let that, analysis by paralysis and let, that freeze us. We were like, "We're gonna do whatever it takes to make sure this business succeeds," whether that means we're going off a $1,000 Home Depot machine, because me and Pat, we don't come from, the trust funds or the nest eggs. I we just had to come up with what we had, and we both invested, like, I think it was like 2 or 3K in the very beginning, and we were able to build it to this.
dude, that's absolutely incredible. So I'm glad you shared that with us. I'm glad you guys didn't let it be an excuse, and you still aren't. Dude, you can do 100K with $1,000 pressure washer. Like, absolutely brilliant. Dude, but like I remember because I used to run I run the same deal, dude. I'd haul the thing around the yard, like, because the hoses are only so long. But
Yep.
whenever I started running with like guys with like legitimate pressure washing setups, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I've been doing this for so long. It was such an eye-opening experience because like
Well,
literally they would just run around the house. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it's capacity, like, we were able to, like, I remember, like, our first week of me and Pat full time, we had, like, 4 jobs booked every day, and, like, not knowing that we didn't have the capacity to do those jobs. Coming into year 2, we're building out a skid for his truck right now, and we're almost done, but, like, our capacity is gonna go up so much more. So, like, we're gonna be able to get so many more jobs done once we invest in the right equipment. And, Southeast Equipment is the best in the market for sure. And that's where we're gonna stick with. And that's, they've done us right this whole time. So we're gonna, stay with them.
I love it. So, like, obviously, like I said, so many gyms in this Dallas for why you guys were so successful. But like one of the biggest is obviously not letting things be an excuse. A lot of like one of the biggest things that people rebuttal with is, oh, well, pressure washing is oversaturated. Did you guys ever worry about like the saturation within the market? Did you ever look at how many people were running businesses in the market or anything like that?
To be honest, we never looked at them as competition, and we never really, like, looked into it too much. I knew after that first day of knocking and me getting 3 leads with my capabilities and what I can do, it was never a worry for us. Like, is it too saturated? Once you start thinking about that, you're already failing yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And like you said, when I asked you the question earlier, you said you knew it was going to work. You guys had no doubt about it, and that's why you didn't mind investing the money up front for yourselves and the CPA and all the other things you guys invested in. Let's talk a little bit about pricing. That's one of the things a lot of people struggle with in the beginning. How did you guys start with pricing, and then how did that kind of evolve over time to where we're at today?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, in the very beginning, what we did is actually Pat reached out to. So we're in St. Louis. Kansas City is not too far from us, but, we're not competing with people in Kansas City. So we reached out to a power washing company out there, and we were able to we actually called 3 places. The first 2 people hung up on us, wouldn't answer our questions. The third person, he's a lifelong friend. His name's Kenny. He's out of Kansas City. He really helped pave the path for us in the beginning, and being able to call him and say, like, hey, here's a picture of the job that we just got, a lead just came in. How much would you price for this? Or what's like a going rate so that we can have something to base off of? And I think we started landing at like somewhere between 250 and 300, like 250 for a ranch style home and 300 for a 2-story home in the very beginning. But we started raising our prices until we hit a cap. Like, we thought we hit a cap, but we actually didn't. We just raised our prices again. But we just kept raising it 10% and just, see if we can still sell it at that price.
Dude, I love whose idea was it to be like, hey, let's just call other people in like surrounding areas that aren't direct competitors and ask for advice?
Yeah, honestly, I forget where that idea came from. I know, like in the very beginning, we were watching a ton of videos on YouTube, especially yours in the beginning. But yeah, I don't know if it was Pat just came up with that idea and was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna call a few companies." But I mean, that, like I said, that guy's a lifelong friend. We had a big commercial contract, a 10K commercial job, like our third month. So he was definitely able to, help us answer a lot of questions with that. And again, we did that with the, $1,000 Home Depot machine.
I'm just like, I'm sure that was like an uncomfortable place to be. Like, obviously you're in a vulnerable position because you don't know everything. And so like calling and being like, hey, we're new. Can you help us out? Like, but at the end of the day, it paid off for you guys because you didn't stop. You didn't call one person and they hung up on you. You didn't call two people, but on the third one, you got the right guy. So it's kind of the same deal with door knocking. Wouldn't you say, Dallas? Like, I mean, all you need is that one yes. And now you got the truck, you got everybody busy for the day, right?
Yeah, 100%. And like I was telling you earlier, is we just got me off the truck and I was able to go sell today. And, this lady called for us to clean one side of her home, which we usually don't do that. We just do a full house wash. But, we didn't tell her that over the phone. We showed up. When I got there, I quoted everything that we offered. And it came out to $2,100. And that was our first in-person quote because we had been doing quoting, over the phone through our CRM and just emailing it to them. But yeah, we were able to secure a $2,100 job. I had 3 appointments today. I closed 2, and the third is a maybe. So I think that one's going to close too.
I love it, bro. I love it. Okay, that's beautiful. I do want to go back to the 10% raise. So how did you guys, do that? You guys obviously found a price that worked, and then how did you incrementally boost it up 10%? And then how did you kind of like, did you keep track of everybody who said yes and no and kind of, use the ratio or what?
Honestly, we didn't do any like keeping track too much because we were selling them a lot. So we were still over 70% close rate when we were at like, it's kind of crazy. We were closing at like 90% when we were selling them at 250. So once we saw that and I saw the numbers that I'm closing at 90%, in all of my sales jobs, I had never closed that high. So I was like, okay, something's not right here. So we definitely need to up the prices and, we'll go up by 10%. We actually, had a conversation with this guy named Ryan Lee from Landscape Lighting. And he was the one that told us like, hey man, just go up 10%. You can afford to lose 20% of your customers when you do that because you're charging more. And yeah, once we upped it 10%, it worked for like a month. And then we're like, all right, let's up it again. We're going to keep upping it till we felt like we hit a ceiling.
Dude, so there's another like little golden nugget for you guys. Notice all the places that Dallas has learned from. So like watch my videos in the beginning, call the guy who was a competitor. You just said that you talked to the lighting expert. You guys jumped into the inner circle. Like all these different places, you guys are just like absorbing information, utilizing it in the business, seeing what works, and then, doubling down on what does. Like that is beautiful, bro. And that's like, you cannot be stopped when you do something like that just because you're just always getting new information and testing it. It's beautiful. I love that.
We wouldn't be where we were at if we weren't sponges and absorbing all this. And, being around like-minded people and being in that inner circle group has really just been amazing for us because we've met lifelong friends in there. Dewey Wooten, shout out him. We literally were on our way home from a convention this weekend and stopped in Tennessee and just hung out with Dewey. We went to Waffle House and like just had breakfast at like 4 a.m. and he gave us a tank that we're for our skid that we're building. And it's just the people that you meet, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people and, want to learn from people that are places that you want to go. So, reaching out to people in the inner circle that are doing over 6 figures from, the jump, it's invaluable 100%.
Dude, shouts out to Wooten. Wooten, bro, dude, I can't believe Dewey's like such a 4 a.m. Waffle House guy. I could see that happening. So.
Yeah. Wooten watching, baby.
That's right. Okay, well, sweet. So I loved how the pricing evolution, you guys were landing so heavy in the beginning. And like the thing is, the more lead flow you have coming into your business, the more you can afford to kind of, raise the prices and let go of some of these customers, right? So I think it sounded like too, that was another piece, right? Dallas, you guys really dialed in the lead flow and you were able to then, be able to lose some of those customers.
Yeah. It's like not everyone's your customer. And we realized that, real quick because, we'd get called out for a $200 house wash or something. And, they're just not our customers. And now we're doing that same scale at like $2,100 tickets, but we're doing a lot more services. But that's the customer we want, because I can sell them all of our other packages. Plus, when it comes, December and, holiday lighting season, we'll be able to, offer our lights to those customers because they're high tickets, and so is lighting.
Dude, I'm excited to see what you guys do with holiday lighting because, like, obviously, Glenn's story, right? Because Glenn's in the inner circle, and like that dude, absolutely. His first year, I think it was like 15K or something, and then now he does like 250 or 300 just on Christmas. Like, it's crazy. So I just can't wait to, because I know you guys are going to leverage your whole customer base into that service as well.
And that's lighting is an amazing add-on if you're doing washing because it's a lease model service. So like, the year one is a lot of upfront cost, but also you're sending out your quotes with 50% deposits. So they are paying for all the equipment and all the stuff that you need to get their lights hung. But come year 2 and 3, they're not, all the stuff's already bought. So that's going to be a lot more, profit coming in year 2 and 3. And yeah, we're going to crush it in lighting. No doubt.
Right, and it's already sized to their house, and they've already been happy with the service previously. I talked to Glenn, and he's like, "Dude, I've returned pretty much like 95% of every customer that I've ever done the job for," and I'm just like, "What a business model, bro!" Like, it's beautiful. So,
and it's crazy because like it just took off. We did 40K in like 3 months, which is kind of insane. But more than that, we were able to, we were able to donate lights and become a sponsor with Toys for Tots in St. Louis. And we were able to raise like a couple trailers full of toys for local St. Louis kids our first year. And, Toys for Tots, like that's been in my high school and my middle school for me growing up. So to be a part of a community like that, we were able to get on the radio, and I'm on the radio talking about Christmas lights. And I just started Christmas lights like 2 weeks ago. So it was a wild experience for sure.
Dude, it gave you a purpose bigger than yourself, dude, and that's like a beautiful thing, bro.
Yeah,
I love that. I love how you're able to leverage all these different things, bro. That's like another like competitive advantage that I think you've gotten for yourself is the ability to like leverage knowledge, leverage relationships, leverage situations. Like you're talking about Toys for Tots. Let's kind of get into customers though, Dallas. Like, how did we get customers in the beginning, and how has that kind of evolved up until now?
Yeah, so right in the beginning, it was the door knocking, flyers, and Facebook ads. We started out building our Facebook account, building a website, just so like when we got that lead, they could check us out on all platforms and see that we're a legit company. And by doing that, it allowed us to secure those customers early on in the beginning by producing us looking like a professional company, even though we just started. But we definitely, like I said, we definitely took all the education seriously in the beginning. So when we were selling these customers, we weren't providing them a disservice. We want to make sure that we're providing, the highest service that we can for our customers.
Right. I would say that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made early on because like whenever I first started my business, there really wasn't any YouTube like knowledge or people teaching it or anything like that. So I just like went out there and did whatever I thought was the best. And if I couldn't clean something, I was just like, hey, I can't clean it. Like people would ask about rust stains or like oil stains, and I'd be like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, and dude, like we would sit down with a notebook and play your videos, and like in the very beginning, and take notes, and like, oh wow, this is $1,000 job. Okay, like we can do that in a day. And like I remember when we first landed that 10K contract, I was making about 10K a month, between 10 and 15K a month selling car warranties. But once we secured that 10K job and we got that done in a week, I was like, oh, it's game over now, dude. We're gonna, 10K is a low scale for commercial, so I can't wait to just crush it even more on that side.
Dude, so what's like the biggest job that you guys have done year one? Then was it the 10K job?
No, so I got both of them hanging on the wall right here. That one was a 10K apartment complex. And then we linked up. We also do networking. So networking has been a huge, huge thing for us. Networking is your net worth. So we go, and this was another thing. We had to add this into our calendar every week. It was Thursday mornings, 8:30 to 9:30 with Master Networks. And it's with about 15 to 25 local business owners in our city. We were able to sit down with them and just, talk and, have that 1 hour meeting. And that just provided invaluable lessons and, talking to other companies that are, like a painting company that's doing $1 million a year. And we linked up with them, and now they have us do all the prep work. So they actually called us out for a commercial job. and we cleaned out 100 decks on this apartment complex, and we prepped it for them to go in and stain it. And that was a 14.3K job.
Dude, this is like a master class, bro. Like, I'm telling you guys, if you're watching this right now, please take notes, take this serious because, like, dude, you're giving like the blueprint. Like, this is it. Like, just everything you said, Dallas, has been beautiful. It's been, it's coming from a place of you had nothing else to. This was it. This was gonna work. You were gonna make this happen, and dude, it's just it's beautiful to see. And so, because we talked about your goal for next year before we started this call, and so you guys did 140 year one, year two. You want to tell them how much?
Yeah, 350K. I want to do 250K washing with the 100K lights, and I think the 100K and lights might be on the lower end. But that's what we're shooting for is 350. When we hit 350, we'll be happy right there.
And so, like, dude, I would not doubt this at all. Have you guys done the math backwards on what you need to do each month, each day?
We haven't yet. We literally just got back from a conference this past weekend. And like that's when we're sitting down to really like dial in our numbers and our KPIs and really like honing in on the back end stuff and really like diving into that.
I love that. But just the fact that you guys are still going to conferences, you're still learning, dude. Like, I have no doubt that you guys will grow this to like 500,000, 1,000,000, and you'll like maybe jump into something else, or you guys will just keep evolving it because just when you're able to soak things up like a sponge and implement like that, dude, there's like no stopping you. You know what I mean? And that's such a beautiful thing. So I love that, Dallas. I can't wait to see, bro. I know y'all are gonna do 350K this year. But
yeah.
For anybody who wants to do anything, work it backwards. Like, all we have to do is figure out 350, how many months are in the year, how much do we need to make per month, and then how many days are we working per month, how much we need to make per day. You know what I mean? And then you can kind of figure out what our average ticket needs to be, how many jobs we need to do. And when you're able to dial in on those numbers so specifically, then you're able to hold yourself accountable. We could say, okay, this was January's numbers versus what we actually did. Okay, are we on track or not? But like, that's going the extra mile. That's actually running the business like a business. Too many people run it as a side hustle. They're like, well, we'll see. I passed out some flyers and like, I post a couple Facebook groups and we'll see what happens. But like, when you leave things up to chance like that, you're just gonna get like half-ass results. Like, so that's
100%.
why I love everything you guys have been doing, Dallas, because y'all are killing it. But you're killing it because it's very intentional.
Yeah, and you have to go all in. If you're not all in, you're just doing yourself a disservice, and you're doubting yourself. And that's where you really let limited belief start, taking over, and you're like, oh, I could never get a $1,000 ticket per a house, or I could never sell someone a $3,800 light, for Christmas lights around their house. Like, that was me, dude. I didn't think that I could be selling 4K package deals for Christmas lights, but those big numbers don't scare us. We sent them out and we closed, like over 30 clients.
Dude, I love that. So 14K was the biggest one you guys have done yet, dude. I have no doubt that you guys will do even bigger ones this year, especially with your networking group. And, when you start getting into 30, 40K jobs, like, very quickly you can get those numbers up. You don't need too many 30 to 40K jobs to make 350 a year. So that's like the beautiful thing about this business. And then you really will put yourself in a position where you then get to call the shots. Like, year one's kind of like, we'll take everything that we can, but then you get into like year two, year three, year four, and then all these things start culminating in your favor. And then it's like, okay, Dallas will sit back and be like, you know what? We just want to do like these big jobs. Or like, you could be like Glenn and be like, we're going to take off February and January because like we do so well during Christmas light season. You just put yourself in a position where you're the one that gets to call the shots. And it's such a, great feeling, right, Dallas?
It's, 100%. And that's like with me, like after our conference that we just did this past weekend, we learned so much from that. And we come back Monday, we instantly implemented everything. We actually hired an employee at the conference because like we're taking action immediately. So once we got back here and I'm off the truck now, it allows me to focus in on what I'm good at. And like, I want to build a canvassing department. I know the ins and outs of canvassing from when I worked there for 3 years and I was a manager. So like, I'm just going to bring everything from that company into our company, build up these kids that are, 15, 16 years old out of high school and, provide them a possibility of a career path. If they, don't want to knock forever, that's fine. You can come into washing. If you don't want to wash, you can get into Christmas lights.
I love that, bro. That's beautiful. This is really the reason why me and Mike built a CRM as well. Just because like we looked around and we were like, dude, like these companies don't care about like service providers. I was like, I was like the biggest affiliate for like one of the largest CRMs like there are. Everybody knows about them. I'm not going to say their name, but like they never listen to me. I'd give them advice all the time. I'd be like, hey, you guys really implement this, or like we should try this out, or like, how can we work together more? But nobody ever listened. So it's just like, the beautiful thing is when you start your own deal, you can take everything that you've learned from all these different experiences and put them all together. And dude, it's just like a magical thing, bro. Like what you're saying. So
And you just have your head down, and all of a sudden you like your head's up, and it's been a year, and you did 140K, and like I'm like supposed to feel super excited about that, but it's like I'm not done. Like I'm definitely happy with what we did, but we have goals and stuff that we need to knock off in front of us.
Well, dude, the other thing is when you know your true worth, you're never really like that satisfied. Like, yeah, you did huge numbers for anybody, but at the end of the day, Dallas, I would bet if I asked you, like, Dallas, what do you think like you guys could really do? You'd be like, dude, 500,000. We could do 1,000,000. And so like you'll never be satisfied until you get to that point. And even when you do, you'll know that there's still room for improvement. And like that is what ultimately separates somebody who ends up at the top of the heap versus somebody that's like, oh, well, we're both making like 70K a year, like we're cool here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's like, that's just the mind blowing thing is when you start pouring into yourself, you just like, you start seeing everything start, unfolding. And it's just like, wow, like I really have built a successful business that, me and my partner have really built this, and it's really working. And like our leads are coming in. So we're able to keep jobs on schedule. That's allowing us to keep payroll paid. And, by doing all that, it just at the end of the day, yeah, we're super happy with where we're at. And yeah, we want to do 1 million, 5 million, 10 million. That's where we're headed. And that's, we're not stopping until we hit those numbers.
Let me ask you this, Dallas, because this is kind of off the path of like what I wanted to talk about. But have you noticed, like, even with this year one success in your business, have you noticed like any kind of shift in like family or friends or like anything like that? Because like a lot of people can't relate to some of the things that you guys are going, like all of the knowledge that you guys are seeking, all the things you're soaking up. So like, have you lost any friends because of this? You know what I mean?
100%. So like I was before we started this, I did a little club promoting like on the side for a club in St. Louis. And, I had like a pretty big friend circle of everyone around me. But as soon as I was like, me and Pat both made the decision to quit drinking when we started our business. And, once I stopped going out to all the clubs and, drinking all the time and being around those people, I have like maybe 5 to 10, like real close friends that I call friends that like can come over to my house and we can have a dinner party and, watch the UFC fights, and not everyone's, being drunk or, causing an issue. So yeah, we really, cut off a lot of people out of our life. And without us doing that, I don't think we'd be where we're at.
Right. I would say that and I wanted to go here because like anybody who's looking to achieve this is one of the downsides of it is like when you start elevating yourself and learning more and becoming more and doing more with your life, you are going to like separate yourself from the people that you used to associate with. And when that happens, it could be a little bit uncomfortable for people. But at the end of the day, like you said, your network is your net worth. And at the end of if you're hanging out with people that, are doing bad things or not making a lot of money, you're going to end up on the same path. And I think you're doing great, Dallas. You're going to like conventions now, man. You're meeting with like other business people. So for anybody who wants to emulate that, you must surround yourself with those who you want to be like, right?
100%, dude. And that's really what changed us. And, giving up drinking was a big thing. I didn't think it was ever holding me back. Cause I was like, oh, I'm not a big drinker, but I'd have a couple of drinks when I went out. But it definitely like my mental clarity now is next to none. I've never felt like this. Like my decision-making skills or, whatever I need to, be sure about, I'm 100% about. I'm not like waking up hungover, trying to get a house washed. Like, we make sure that everything is done correctly and, quitting drinking and, eliminating those people around us, like the naysayers, and like people that are like, oh, Christmas lights will never do money, or saying all that stuff to us. They're like, you're never going to make it in power washing. Why would you quit your job for $700 a week? And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing like 16, 18-hour days. I kind of feel that sometimes too, but I'm building something here. It's not just for the instant gratification. We're playing the long game.
Absolutely. You guys are all in. And that's one thing people don't notice or recognize is that when you're all in on everything. You're not just like all in when it comes to like 9 to 5. I'm out here knocking doors and washing houses. I'm all in from the point of like, when we stop washing, I'm watching things, I'm learning things, I'm absorbing things, and then we're implementing them the next day. Like I'm the same way, dude. Cody's the same way. Cody put in a super chat for superstars. Dallas is going places. Really appreciate that, Cody. But like me, Cody, Aaron, Mike, we're all cut from the same cloth. Like we don't stop. We don't stop thinking. We don't stop learning. We don't stop evolving. And at the end of the day, those are the people that you want to surround yourself with because those are the people that are going places, right?
Yeah, I mean, being around like this convention that we just went to, being around a table of, you could see these people coming in, they're doing 7, 8 figures in their business, and they're sitting at the same table as us. Like, they're not just the speakers, they're coming there to learn for their business as well. So for us to be a 6-figure business, not on that same scale, to be there learning next to these people and bumping shoulders with them, and staying at the same hotel on the same floor and talking to them at dinner, and it's invaluable to be around those people, because again, that's where we're headed. I'm going to make 7 figures or 8 figures no matter what.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of bring it back on the script. I love to script these because then I can really pull the most out of some of the questions. What was the biggest mistake that you guys made in year one? Obviously, you guys did a ton right, but was there anything that you guys did wrong?
Yeah, biggest mistake, I guess, was investing in certain, like, so we bought that, the big noodle pole that you think you can wash houses with. That's like a extendo pole.
Right.
We spent, a lot of our early money on that pole, a tripod for that. But we weren't just like super educated that first. We were just super happy. We're selling leads. So we're like, oh, let's just buy this. It looks like it's the right thing, instead of doing the actual research. But with us doing a lot of the education in the beginning, we were able to eliminate those big mistakes. And I think that's what the importance of education and, becoming a part of, the inner circle, and, getting the how to wash course, so how to do it correctly. I'm not going to make big mistakes because I've done the education.
I love that. I mean, dude, at the end of the day, the big mistakes can be so costly because if you think about it, you're washing someone's most valuable asset. And I try to tell people that all the time. Like, unless you're cognizant of like everything that can go wrong, it's so easy, dude. You get a little water in a socket. If you like blast a little too much pressure on a window, I mean, dude, it doesn't
We
take a
broke
lot.
a few doorbells in the beginning for sure, and thank God Pat just knew how to put a doorbell back up. But that, I guess, I forgot about that. Yeah, we broke a few doorbells, so we get the shower caps as our plan, and get those over the doorbells for sure now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I love that. I love the fact that you educated in the beginning so that way you didn't make any of those big mistakes. That's beautiful. Any other mistakes with regards to like, did you guys, because another mistake that you didn't make, you didn't price too low because you guys reached out to people and you kind of saw what the market was. Even with regards to lead acquisition, did you guys make any mistake? Did you put any money somewhere that there wasn't like a big return on, anything like that?
No, so I kind of had been in marketing background, kind of. Me and my other best friend, Nathan Cooper, we were able to, do some drop shipping stuff with like building a website for drop shipping bracelets or something. So I'd always been running Facebook ads and kind of understanding of them. So we kind of had a really good idea on the marketing side on what we need to do. And again, watching the videos and the educational videos, and like, they're going to tell you what works and what doesn't. And there's no reason to like create a whole new system when like these 5 things works, yard signs, flyers, Facebook marketing, local service ads, just doing all of those at once. That's when you start seeing the wheels start turning, because you might get one lead from like next door, or you might get one lead from Facebook, and then you're getting a knocking lead. So now you're like booking your week out, instead of just thinking like, hey, I'm going to put 25 yard signs out and I hope I can book my week. Like, no, you got to take action. And we learned that early on, because once we added local service ads, like I said, we started ranking #1 window cleaner. So we were getting like 3 to 4 phone calls a day. It was like insane. And we were closing these jobs. But all of a sudden, I didn't upload my business certificate in the beginning when getting on with local service ads. So they shut us down after month 1. They shut us down, and all of a sudden our lead flow stopped. And we had kind of stopped doing all the other marketing things because this one was working so well. So early on, we learned not to put all of our eggs in one basket, and to spread our marketing out, so that, that doesn't happen. And you don't make big mistakes where you're like, oh, I'm going to put $500 in this, pressure washing ad on Facebook, and I hope I get a lead.
Dude, the lead flow is such like a lull. Like especially if you hit something that really works, like you were saying with the local service ads, it's so easy to just get lulled right to sleep with everything else. And then did
I'm
you
not
look
knocking no more. I'm good. I'm going to, I can book our week out. I don't need to knock right now.
But then you look up and you're like, oh, wait a second. The phone hasn't rang today. Oh, we haven't posted like to our GMB, or we haven't posted to Facebook, or we haven't done this. Dude, I love it. That's a great mistake that a lot of guys fall into. They get into like so focused on one source of marketing that when it dries up, like their business is done for. So Okay, perfect. I knew there was something. I mean,
Yeah,
Dallas, you
yeah, I gotta bring them out.
you did such a good job of mitigating like any of your potential risk on the front end. I want you guys to take note of this because like anybody who wants to start a business like this, Dallas literally used education to mitigate all of his risk with regards to the property, with regards to you guys didn't even spend a bunch on equipment. Like it's incredible. And that's why you reached out to people to learn different things. And that's why you guys hadn't made any huge mistakes. So
Yeah,
that's
and
beautiful.
in the beginning, seeing those $250 a month charge for the CPA and then the monthly charge for the inner circle, all these things, they add up. And if you're not bringing in leads, you're not going to be able to pay for those things. So by getting into all those educational things and investing our money into ourselves, we were able to secure more jobs. So like, it's like printing money, as how I like to say it, is like, after watching your guys' videos, we can, implement all of that stuff into our area, not worry about competitors or nothing like that, and just attack. And, you'll be surprised by once you start investing in yourself, how far you'll actually go.
That's beautiful. Ultimately, that's what it is. You cut the learning curve, like, and that's why you guys did 140K without, any problem.
Oh, yeah.
So Dallas, what would you say was the like if obviously you guys got advice from a lot of different places, but if you were able to boil it down, what was the biggest piece of advice that you got starting out that made the biggest difference that you would say?
Biggest piece of advice. That's a tough one, because again, we reached out to so many people. We were getting advice from so many people. But really, I mean, just trusting in yourself and not allowing limited belief. We listen to, these like business, little videos on YouTube's that pump us up in the morning, and, setting yourself for the procedure that you want, and, forcing yourself into a discipline that you're not used to and making sure you stay consistent. I think that, just trusting yourself, not having limited belief that you can't do this or you'll never get those numbers. Yeah, hearing that, when someone broke down what limited belief meant to me, I think that was one of the biggest pieces of advice that we could implement right away, and like send out these big tickets and not be worried. Like, man, is someone going to really pay 10K to clean this concrete of this apartment complex? Or, not being scared by that. And, just trusting that you've done the right stuff to get to where you want to go.
Right. And I think also if you guys put in as much work as Dallas did with regards to acquiring the information up front, that gives you so much more, confidence when you go on site. Just as you were talking about, speaking with the customer, knowing what you're talking about. You had put in the work to learn the things that you needed to learn in order to speak properly to what you guys were doing. So
Messaging those people, like, messaging you and messaging Aaron and, messaging Cody, and like, you guys might not have seen them right away, but, I'm going to send that message and make sure that like, you're going to know who I am. Cause I'm going to like, this is the path that I'm taking. And, I will be a part of that community.
I love it, Dallas. Any advice for somebody who wants to run a business with a partner or start a business with a partner, or like, you know what I mean? Is thinking about it.
Yeah. That's, starting a business with a partner has been huge for us to get to where we're at, because you have that person that's all in with you, and, you guys can double down on things together and get, stuff done quickly. But really, finding someone that is kind of like your yin and yang. Again, I'm sales and he's operations. He's going to be training all the, techs and lead techs. I'm going to be building a canvassing department and building up canvassers and salesmen that are going to be running our leads and, knocking doors for us. And, once we like get to that point, it's going to be game over, because, we can implement employees to do what we're already doing.
I love it. I love it. Dallas, last question for you. If the goal is 350 in year 2, what do we do differently in year 2 that gets us from 140 to 350?
Yeah. So what we're going to do is upgrade our equipment for sure. So upgrading equipment has already allowed us to up our average ticket and allow the capacity to increase a ton, because we might only be able to get, if we're selling a large ticket job, $2,100, all of our service, roof wash, gutters, windows, house wash, and all the concrete, that might take us a while because we have lower equipment. But we know in our hearts that we have to get to that stage. And again, we didn't have a nest egg. So, we're going to do what we had to get, done right away to make sure that we can afford this equipment coming in. We're almost paid off with the water fed pole stuff. I think we have like 2 more payments or something like that with that. Once that's paid off, we're going straight into washing equipment.
Okay, I love it. So you think equipment's going to be the biggest thing, being able to do the jobs faster, quoting on site to raise the average ticket price, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, getting me in 100% sales, I think that's going to really help us too, because like today, I was able to go out and, close 2 out of 3 leads rather than just send out an email and hope that, they approve it through the CRM. And me getting in front and doing what I'm best at, I think that's really what's going to get us to the 350.
Okay, beautiful. I hope that people, if anybody watched this far in the video, I hope you took notes and watched. I'd rewatch it. I'd just listen to it on repeat because everything that Dallas has done up until this point has been just like incredible gold. Like I have no doubt that you guys will do 350K this year because when you put in the work, things just start to work for you. Like the universe almost conspires in your favor at a certain point once you put in so much effort. And that's why I said, like, once you guys get into 2, 3, 4 years in, you guys are going to have the culmination of all of your customer base and like all these leads coming in. And once you start getting a little bit deeper into commercial, dude, like I think it's game over for, anybody else around y'all. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's a good thing that we did in the beginning, and we still do it every day. Is if we drive past like an apartment complex or senior living, we're dropping off business cards every day. So that Kenny guy told us after, he's like, hey, my first year I dropped off 10 business cards, and then year 2 I got a call from it. Well, we just took that times like 1,000. We each got like 2K business cards, and we just hit the streets and we're passing them out. So yeah, come year 2, 3, I think the commercial is really going to take off for us.
Let's talk about this too, Dallas. How much return how many have you put out versus how many have you gotten?
How many like business cards?
Yeah, like how many business cards would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, we probably put out around, probably because we each bought 2,000. We still have a little bit left. I think we probably put out maybe 1,000 cards at least each.
Okay. Is this mostly commercial properties you would say, or?
Yeah, mostly commercial properties or restaurants or fast food restaurants, stuff like that. Yeah, senior living places. I actually looked up our school district in the area where their admin building was, and I walked in and I said, "Hey, I have a meeting with Angela. I'm here to talk to Angela." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "Well, who are you from?" And I'm like, "Well, here's my card. If you want to give that to her." She walked right back to her, gave it to the she was the director of maintenance, gave her card. And she's like, she's on the phone right now. You don't have an appointment, but she'll reach out to you. And I was like, oh, okay, man, I almost had it. I was almost got to the back room past the gatekeeper. But the next day she emailed us, and I think we're going to end up be washing some schools come up this year for her.
That's gonna be huge, bro.
Yeah.
The most difficult part with regards to passing out the cards is getting past the gatekeeper. But I just wanted you to say that because like you said that you guys have passed out close to 1,000 cards.
Yeah.
You haven't really seen a big return on that. But
Not yet.
Are you gonna stop passing out cards?
No, never. We post them out. We pass them out every single day.
Dude, and that right there, because guess what? He is 1 card away. Dallas is 1 card away from getting the entire school district. You know what I'm saying? Like all he has to do is get in touch with Angela or whatever. Maybe she gets the card. Maybe she's like, we are looking for somebody better. We got 7 schools we need you to quote. And then that could come in it. That could be like over 100 grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But guys stop too early. It's like that analogy of like the guy digging for gold, right? And he gets
The
like
diamond.
the last hit.
Yeah.
Right. They just stop too early. If you're, it's like who's willing to do the work for the longest amount of time with the least return gets the largest reward at the end of that. And dude, I can't wait to hear because Dallas, I know that it's coming about the hugest job you guys have ever landed because one of those business cards got into the right hands.
Yep. And if it hasn't yet, it will. We're gonna get one out.
Because you don't stop. And at the end of the day, dude, this is why, because I love guys like you, bro, Mike Turman, Ben Wilson, like all of y'all are like cut from the same cloth because there's like a never say die. You know what I mean? It's like we're always going after it. Mike Turman did like almost $1 million in his business, dude. He still pulls over on the side of the road to this day to go give a card and quote a job. So
yeah, and that's been a big thing for us is we were with that networking stuff too. We were able to get in with a cleaning company that does interior post-construction cleanup, but they couldn't get their contract without a power washing company to come in and clean all the post-construction stuff off the house, the concrete. That we actually go in, and this has kept us busy for 12 months. It's not like paying the bills busy yet. Because they just got on the vendor list and they're adding more and more houses to our schedule. But, we're able to go in and spray out the basements on unfinished basements. And then we go and spray out the garage and then the driveway and then, the sidewalk and then the house. And then, I think it's like 175 per house right now, depending on the square feet. So it's not like a ton, but it's consistent work for us, like through these slow months when it's, because it gets cold here, we get snow. So we were still spraying like on that verge of freezing weather.
Right. But like when you think about this too, like all you are is a couple of those connections away from you guys being so busy you can't even take on any more work. And all these people are doing is just feeding you work, like you said with the painting company. So you got these guys feeding you work, you get the painting company feeding you work. If you guys team up with a couple more people, I mean, it snowballs so quickly that like there's no way that you cannot not be successful.
Right.
But if you don't make those connections and introduce yourself and pass the cards out and shake the hands and do all the stuff, you'll never.
Yeah, in the very beginning, like I knew networking was going to be big for us. And Pat did too, but he wasn't like 100%, behind it in the beginning. We're like, hey, this is taking an hour slot out of, a business hour slot, but I'm like, us getting in here, getting with these people, being around like-minded people, they do like little training videos and stuff like that. But it has now evolved us into, we're like the social chair dudes is what they call us of our chapter. And like, we put on these little events. Like we actually did a social media class for like the older people in the group. And, we're able to teach them about, what's working in our business, which is just full circle being able to give back to our community, which is, what we love to do.
And like you said, it's a group of people with businesses. So it's like, you're saying, hey, this is really working to get pressure washing customers. Like, and you're speaking to somebody who could be a pressure washing customer. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Now, for anybody who's like letting themselves have the excuse of like, well, I don't know where to start with networking. Like, what would you say to that? Like, where would be the best place to start?
Yeah. I mean, Master Networks is who we network with. They're throughout the whole country. So check out Master Networks in your area. I'm sure they got chapters. Like they have 14 chapters in Missouri. So we're technically power washers are the unicorns. There's not a lot of power washers that network. So we can go to all 14 chapters and, network with all these other business owners in different cities because we're not like, for example, realtors are in every networking group. There's always a realtor. So like they can't go to another group because that spot's already filled. But for us, that's power washing spot is not filled. So we're able to go to all those places and you just sign up. We paid, I think it was like $300. It's $75 a month, but it's got us like over 25K in ROI. So it was a no-brainer.
Bro, incredible, dude. Incredible. I'm telling you, this was a master class for anybody who wants to make 100K their first year and like even more their second. Like if they just follow this path, they're gonna be in good hands. Dallas, every guest that comes on the channel has to pick the word of the day. What would you like the word of the day to be?
Word of the day is, let's say success. I think the word of the day is success. And it's, I guess it's kind of hard to see that you're successful at some points because you're never satisfied, like you were saying before. But it's also, slowing down and understanding that, we have done a lot of the right things to get to where we're at. So, we got to celebrate that too, 100%.
Absolutely. If you guys made this far in the video, comment down below success and I'll hashtag real one. My name is Justin. This is Forever Self-Employed. Until next time, hustle hard. Get that money, baby. Peace.
That money.
Dude.